So I'm Tama. I will be doing the scenario with Tim. I've chosen to do a narrative approach, and Victoria will be playing the role of Tim for my scenario. So for Tim, this is our fourth session, and in the past sessions we've been talking a little bit quite in depth about a few other things that he's been experiencing with guilt, anger. Obviously there was a lot going on for him just coming out of jail, a lot of relationship problems that he was facing, financial with his job, and just really wanting to get back into work and feeling a lot of feelings of anger, a lot of feelings of worthlessness, loneliness, relationship strains, and yeah, just quite a lot that we were trying to unpack. In the last session we delved into a little bit of homework for Tim, which he came out and said that himself that he wanted to obviously try and get into work, and he also wanted to try and get back in contact with his family, and try and sort of build back those relationships a little bit, just to give him a little bit of clarity, I suppose, on the relationships and things like that. So I'll be starting the interview today from the beginning of the interview, and we'll be diving into the phone call with his father, and maybe reflecting back a little bit on the last session where he was talking about work and a little bit of the panic over that as well. Yeah. Thank you. Hi Tim, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm in a bit of a rough patch at the moment, just feeling a little bit lost, lonely, kind of just doubting what I'm doing.
Okay, yeah, so it's a little bit of a low feeling for you today.
Yeah.
Can I sort of have a little bit of a question why that might be? What's caused those feelings today?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things, like what we've been talking about previously with like accommodation, trying to find a job, and then I guess just trying to reconnect with my family now.
Yeah.
Family now as well. Yeah, it's just a bit difficult.
Yeah, you've definitely had a lot going on the last few weeks especially, but obviously throughout as well. We've talked a lot about obviously work and things like that have been going on for you, and your mood's been quite low pretty much every session we've been in, so that's definitely recognised. Last week, towards the end of the session, we were talking about you getting in contact with calling your dad or your sister. Did that ever happen?
Yeah, so I was able to reach out to my sister Julia, which was a little bit weird, I guess, because we have sort of been on and off contact for a while, but yeah, I don't think it was too bad, and she sort of encouraged me to reach out to Dad, and I did like get his number, I tried to call him, but yeah, just like it seemed like he picked up, but there was like nothing happening, so yeah, just sort of left it. I don't really know if he did and then heard me and then just sort of like hung up, avoided it. Yeah, not too sure.
So lots can happen this week with that. And with the phone call with Julia, can you tell me a little bit more about that conversation? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, so I think it's sort of made me like maybe a little bit more optimistic about like reconnecting with her and potentially my other sibling as well in the future. Maybe we'll try and, I don't know, rebuild the relationship. Yeah, so feel better having talked to her.
Yeah, that's definitely good that you're feeling better, and so obviously rebuilding with your family, that's something that's quite important to you.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something you're wanting to explore. And what would be your hope for that relationship?
Yeah, I guess just for it to have someone else in my life that I'm able to just talk to, confide in, not feel so lonely anymore. Yeah, I just want to have that support again in my life.
Yeah, definitely. So also you said your dad, he did answer or he didn't answer?
At first it seemed like someone had picked up, because like obviously like the dial tone, and then it seemed like yeah, someone was there, but I didn't hear anything, and then it just cut off after I was like saying like hello dad, it's Tim, but yeah, didn't like no one said anything, so I just sort of hung up, and now I've just been all in my head as to yeah, whether he heard me, he's avoiding me, yeah, and yeah, just yeah, maybe he doesn't forgive me for what happened, so yeah, I don't know if I'll try and reach out again sometime.
So you did try to reach out again, that was the first call, you just made the one phone call to him and
Yeah, I just left it at that afterwards.
And how did you feel like on the build up to that phone call?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous. I wasn't too sure how he would react to hearing me on the other end, or if he would be willing to talk to me at all.
Yeah, it sounds like it's been quite a big thing for you to do that, and I know that you last week you were really psyching yourself up for it, and it's great that you managed to do that. Obviously he did or didn't answer, you're not really sure about that. After you kind of made that phone call, how were you feeling after you did that? Was there
Afterwards, I think I was a little bit deflated, because yeah, I guess I was maybe hoping to, I don't know, hear and just try and have some kind of a conversation, but yeah, now I'm just doubting whether I bother trying again or not.
If he was to answer the phone, how would you kind of want that conversation to go? What are you hoping to get out of that conversation?
I don't know if forgiveness is too much to ask for after what happened, but I guess just sort of like my siblings, I just try and get the, I don't know, like ball rolling again, try and form a connection, and just go from there.
Yeah, it's a lot to look forward to. Hopefully that will happen for you. I want to come back a little bit to a couple of feelings that you've mentioned through the weeks as well, and the sort of feeling of like worthlessness, and I want to sort of know where that's come from and like what that looks like for you at the moment.
Yeah, I guess after the accident, prison, and then now, I guess sort of where I'm at, the like boarding house, and there's no like job, barely any like income or anything, apart from the allowance. It just feels almost like rock bottom. Like I don't know where to, don't know what else to do. So
So if I can clarify a little bit again, like obviously with the phone call with your dad and with your sister as well, there's a lot going on there in terms of like the way you're feeling a little bit worthless. I know last week you were mentioning like feeling a little bit angry with those types of things, and I think it's really important to put those feelings to one side as well, and sort of see them as not part of who you are. There's a lot going on. Is there any other feelings that come up for you, quite regularly?
I guess aside from just feeling nervous with family, I guess in terms of where I'm at right now in the housing, I'm a little bit wary of like some of the people that are there, and then I guess on the job front it's a little bit, I don't know, feel a bit, I don't know, lost and I don't know, hopeless there.
Yeah, we did mention the job situation as well, and I was just kind of wanting to jump in a little bit with that and see how you were going with that, because I know you went to an interview as well. How was that for you?
I'm not overly optimistic about it. I don't know if it was bit disheveled. I don't know if that gave them the wrong idea about me. But yeah, even like qualification wise, I don't know if I've really got what they're looking for. So I feel like I just need to go back to the drawing board and like figure out maybe somewhere else to
Yeah.
look at working. Yeah.
So when you say things like you weren't really sure what they thought of you, what are you thinking that they thought about you?
Yeah, maybe I didn't like look the part of what they were after. I know I did sort of work towards like something in prison, like sort of having like a certificate in something so I can put towards this, but I guess just not having the experience, it probably, I don't know, looked bad on paper.
Yeah, so I'm kind of sort of hearing two different things with like, you're saying that you're, if I can just clarify, you're saying things like, you know, you come across that you're worthless and that, you know, people are thinking badly of you, but on the other hand, you're saying that you put so much work into like getting a qualification from, you know, when you're in prison, and obviously we spoke last week and you've come off the drugs and things like that for 10 years, and there seems to be a little bit of a difference in what you're saying. Would you say that's kind of true on that front?
I think so. Yeah. Yes. I feel like I'm just all in my head and maybe comparing myself to others that were like in the running for the position as well, and I feel like they've got a lot more going for them than I do.
Yeah, it's a lot when you go for a job interview, and there's always going to be competition. What kind of skills and things do you feel like you bring to the table?
I mean, I feel like I am a hard worker. Like I'm willing to dedicate, like or just like put in effort to the whatever role it is. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I feel like a little bit of confusion with certain things. Yeah, I really want to try and like externalize these feelings that you've got of like anger and worthlessness, and sort of try and put them to one side and sort of help you to understand that like they're not who you are, kind of thing, and sort of try and understand that like who you are as a person and what you're feeling with like the worthlessness and things like that. Do you think it's possible for us to be able to sort of externalize those and understand the differences there?
Yeah, I think it's something that can definitely be worked towards. I'm just not too sure how to really get there. I just feel like there's a whole lot of things up in the air with everything. So I just need to find a way to really kind of focus and, like you're saying, just figure out how to separate myself from all that.
How long did I have left? 2.5. Can I do my reflection?
A little bit further.
Yeah. Okay, if we go back a little bit to just the conversation with your dad as well, we talked a little bit how you were feeling with that, and maybe we could just talk a little bit more about like your expectation from that conversation and what you were kind of hoping for, if you got the ideal scenario for you.
Like I mentioned before, I did like feel better talking to Julia, and I wanted to get that, or like sort of like a similar feeling out of the phone call as well, because I want to get back to having sad, and yeah.
Yeah, what kind of support are you hoping for? Like, what does that look like for you moving forward?
Support, yeah, I guess just having more people to confide in, talk to. Yeah, because I feel like I haven't really been able to really like sort of like connect with anyone like in the housing lot. Yeah, just trying to distance myself from them. Yeah.
Yeah, do you feel like that connection would make a difference for you?
Yeah, I think it would probably make me feel a bit more like positive. Just like to have a more positive outlook on things. Like maybe I'd be able to get more advice from them, especially maybe in terms of like jobs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you feel like that relationship? Sorry.
No, you had to come back on that really well.
I was just shaking so much I couldn't get. Sorry.
Do you want to pause?
No, I'll just keep going. Otherwise I'll cry.
So the session wasn't completed, so can you provide just a brief summary of how you might have concluded the session with a clear statement that reviews the goals and sets some plans for the next session?
I think I was very focused on like trying to get those unique outcomes. Like she did mention them, and I feel like I was trying to focus on them too much that it kind of like took me away from the interview a little bit. Like I was trying to get that skill in, and then once I did it, I kind of like I didn't know where to go with it. So I feel like maybe that's something that being able to transition from that unique outcome and then being able to like continue on with the interview. And like I said, I think because I did it maybe too soon, or maybe because I didn't think it through before I said it, I did it, and then I think because I was focusing so much on getting that skill in, it just threw me off, and like I hate myself for it. But yeah, I was trying to just get that skill in. Yeah.
So how might you have finished this episode of this intervention and plan for the next one?
I definitely want to try and externalise the problem and make Tim kind of see that, you know, he's got so many good qualities and things that he's really focused on, and the fact that he has been sober for 10 years, and like trying to sort of focus on like what that relationship would actually look like for him, what it would do for his, obviously he's got a lot of doubts with like his self-worth and things like that, like what would that ideal scenario look like for him, and how would that actually help him to maybe move forward in the future, whether it was closure, like maybe he might not have that relationship and that's okay, but like what would that look like either way. So that's kind of where I was trying to head with it, but it didn't quite go to like where I wanted it to. But yeah.
Okay. Can you say something about how you were feeling and thinking during the interview?
So many things. I've never known 15 minutes to feel like such a long time. I don't know why I was so nervous today, because my last interview last year, I flew through it, I had no issues at all. So I don't know whether it was just overthinking, probably not feeling as confident with the, maybe I don't really like CBT as much, but I think I was a bit more confident with the approach. Narrative, I find, yes, it's probably easier in the sense that you're just kind of following what the client says, but the skills are actually a lot harder to apply and to follow. So yeah, that's probably feeling a little bit not as confident with the approach. Yeah.
And how do you imagine that might have affected the interview?
I think that maybe she was struggling to he was struggling to understand my questioning and probably the direction of the interview as well. I did feel like I was jumping around a little bit, and I was definitely unable to continue on with the phone call and things like that. Like I feel like I sort of veered off, and suddenly we were talking about the job, and I know I said we were going to sort of bring that up, but it wasn't supposed to be like part of this interview as primarily. It was meant to be just like a check-in, because that's obviously something that was more discussed in the third and other interviews. So yeah, I did what I was trying not to do, like jumping around on different things and struggling to kind of just sit with the feelings a little bit, and like externalize those feelings and how they look instead of focusing so much on the story. If that makes sense.
If you think about the interview, what would you say you have learned about yourself and yourself as a social worker, beginning social worker?
This is a hell of a lot easier when it's not a role for people watching. My role. Look, I'm very empathetic, and I know that when I've done it in a real life situation, I'm happy just to have a chat, you know, and I'm good at listening. My active listening skills, the way that I approach people is really positive. I don't think I'm a very good actor. I've learned that about myself. But yeah, like I know that I've got a lot of empathy, I know that I've got good active listening skills, and I know that I can approach people in a good way and